here's why we have violations. We have conflicts with ourselves. And we think it's all about giving our word and saying yes and or saying no. It really comes down to a personal initiation that has to do with what you say you'll do or what everybody in the organization says they'll do. We get from a system to a person. You become a person of integrity and enjoy the benefits thereof when your word is wholly complete. I'm going to talk about giving your word. Crucial, okay? You cannot always keep your word. You can always honor your word. Been some studies done over the last 2 years that you may find interesting about this. When you say you're going to do something, that's giving your word. When you can't do that, that's honoring your word, okay? So honoring your word is keeping your word, or when you cannot keep your word, as soon as you're aware that you're not keeping your word, you say to everybody impacted that you're not going to keep your word. That's a tough thing for us to do as a board, to be able to say, yeah, I'll do that, I'll take care of that, and then to say, I'm not going to do that. And the sooner you say, I can't do that, the sooner you bring integrity back to the organization. I know this sounds very, very simple, but it's huge. We find that most distrust, mistrust, and miscommunication occurs when people cannot or do not keep their word. When they say they will, if you say you're going to show up, you have to show up. So, when it's impossible and inappropriate to keep your word, or even when you choose not to keep your word, you can honor your word. It's okay to say, I was lying, I cannot do that. You know, something's happened, I can't. Here's when I will do it. I will do it, I will do it by then. Or you can say, I'm not going to do it at all. That gets people back on the right track in the same direction. So, surprising to most people is the fact that you will engender a greater degree of trust and admiration if you can't keep your word, but if you honor your word. How many times have somebody said, I'll do that for you, then they don't? And you say, well, shit, if you'd have just told me. You know, if you'd have just said you're not going to, that would be cool. You would be amazed at how often customers find this to be the issue. Studies show that people leave companies, customers leave companies, more because folks didn't keep their word, primarily salespeople, not because they didn't honor their word. Matter of fact, a study that was done for Marketing Magazine, 23.3%, and they did like a 3,000 customer study, memorable, satisfactory encounters involved difficulties attributed from failures in core service delivery. From a management perspective, this is finally striking. It says that when I said, no, I told you I would, but now I'm not going to, 23.3% of the time, the customers perceive that to be a positive experience. When the salesperson of the company said, I'm not going to do that on Thursday when I promised you, but I will do it by Tuesday by 4 o'clock. Enough of a positive experience to increase sales. Enough of a positive experience to give people more business. That's huge. That's huge. Can you imagine what the number would be if you didn't call them and honor your word? If you didn't call them and say, I'm not going to. So what is your word? Your word's what you say. It's pretty simple. It's what I say I'm going to do. Or it's what you know. If you're perceived to know without saying, I still see that's the same as your word. If I know that you know and you're in a position to do something about it, I'm not talking about integrity, I'm talking about giving your word. It's huge. It's important. So the things that prevent us from having integrity, I'm talking about companies as well as people. Let's try to combine those. One of the most important things that keep us from having integrity is seeing integrity